Reverend Jeanne MacLaughlin, the spiritual leader of Unity Church of Sun Lakes here in Arizona. Today's lesson title is We Actually Can Get There From Here. Our theme this month is The Heat is On, and we're turning up the heat here at Unity Church of Sun Lakes by deepening into the ideas of blueprinting, bridging, and building the life that is our answer to the divine invitation. The life that is our answer to the divine invitation is the life of our divinely inspired dreams. You've all probably heard the phrase, "You can't get there from here." Well, today I want to suggest that you actually can. But before digging into this idea, I want to be sure we realize that spiritually speaking, there isn't a here and a there. It is all one. And in the all one, there isn't time, space, or distance. But in our world of human experience, we can feel the contrast between where we are and where we want to go. For example, I'm leaving for Minnesota in a few weeks for my niece's wedding. And I know that right now I am here in Phoenix having this experience. Not there in Minnesota having who knows what the experiences are going to be. But I'm so excited to find out. And in a few weeks, I'm going to be there in Minnesota having those glorious experiences, not here in Phoenix. So physically, we know there is a here and there, but spiritually, there isn't. So again, the common phrase is, you can't get there from here. But I say, yes, we actually can get there from here. If we are willing to bridge the gap between our vision, what last week we called our blueprint, and the life itself, even when the bridge gets shaky and we lose our balance. To lay the groundwork for this morning, I want to remind you of something you might have forgotten. But it is something very, very important to remember. Long before you came into this physical form, you made a deal with the universe to live in ways that you are most fully alive, most freely expressing your divinity as it shows up through your unique talents and gifts. Long before you became Sheila or Tom or Jill or Amy, you actually agreed to answer the divine invitation. You agreed to experience joy, love, abundance, creativity, fulfillment, and expansion. You agreed to be blessed by blessing the world with all you have to offer. We might lump that all together and say that you agreed to experience success. Just take a moment to remember that. Take a moment to get back in touch with that agreement. Before coming into this life experience, you agreed to be blessed by blessing the world with all that you have to offer. Before coming into the world, you agreed to be a success. So let's say it together. Well, you can repeat after me. Before coming into this life experience, I agreed to be blessed by blessing the world with all I have to offer. Before coming into the world, I agreed to be a success. I also want to share with you a powerful passage from Genevieve Barron's book, Your Invisible Power. On page 52, she's quoting from Troward's Door Lectures. It speaks to this agreement we made in a little bit different way. She says, "My mind is a center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. And this means the production of something beyond what has gone before. Something entirely new, not included in past experience, though proceeding out of it by an orderly sequence of growth. Therefore, since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, it must operate in the same manner with me. Consequently, in my own special world, of which I am the center, it will move forward to produce new conditions, always in advance of any that have gone before. This is what we came to this earth to do. But somewhere along the line, an inner thermostat was set at less than that. We may have created some paradigms that say we can only be so successful and not pass that upper limit. And these paradigms, or the thermostat setting, are now ruling and controlling us. Last month, we briefly explored these paradigms, and today we take a deeper dive because it is our thermostat, our paradigms, that will cause the bridge to get shaky. I mean, very shaky, as we move from blueprinting to answer our divine invitation, to actually building that life and moving into the agreement we made before we arrived on planet Earth. So today, I am preparing you to know that as you bridge going from here to there, which you absolutely can do, things might get a little fuzzy, or a little jumpy, or even bumpy, or disorienting, because you will rub up against your thermostat setting, or your paradigm, or what author Gay Hendricks says in his great book, The Big Leap. He calls it our upper limit. When we exceed our setting or our upper limits, we tend to sabotage ourselves. And of course, it's usually unconsciously, so that we can return to the old, familiar setting where we feel comfortable and secure. And that is uncomfortable, fuzzy, bumpy, jumpy, and disorienting. But here's an interesting piece of information. Successful people are willing to be uncomfortable, not for the sake of being uncomfortable, but for the sake of growth. Hendricks suggests that pretty much every one of us has at least one, sometimes 2 or 3, or even 4 of those hidden barriers. And you can find them, you can find great descriptions of them in The Big Leap. And we will briefly review them here today. All 4 barriers have something in common. Although they seem true and very real to us, they are based on beliefs about ourselves, that are neither true nor real. The fact that we unconsciously accept that they are true or real is what makes the bridge from here to there bumpy. As I share with you what the barriers are, I ask you to lovingly assess where you might be with them. Begin by considering the possibility that you have at least one hidden barrier. Even if you are already pretty darn successful, remember our definition of being successful earlier, you may well have a hidden barrier holding you back from even higher levels of expression. The first step in dismantling them is to shine the light of awareness on them. So barrier number 1, feeling fundamentally flawed. Here's the false belief: I cannot expand into my full potential. In other words, I cannot answer my invitation to the divine fully and completely because there is something fundamentally wrong with me, or because I'm not good enough. So remember last week, I said that the third point under blueprinting and deservability part was actually part of both the bridging and the building. Well, here it is again, raising its head. Barrier number 2, disloyalty and abandonment. The false belief, I cannot expand to my full success because it would cause me to be disloyal to my roots and leave behind people from my past. Hendricks in The Big Leap suggests asking yourself these 2 questions to help determine if this is an upper limit for you. 1, did I break the family's spoken or unspoken rules to get where I am? Even though I am successful, did I fail to meet the expectations my parents had of me? Barrier number 3, the crime of outshining. The false belief, I must not expand to my full success because if I did, I would outshine so-and-so, whoever, and make him or her look or feel bad. So ask yourself, if I am successful in living the life of my dreams and all that that would mean, will I surpass the success of my father, my mother, my sister, my brother? If you say yes to this question, touch in and see how you feel about that. That will give you a clue to whether this is an upper limit for you or not. And finally, barrier number 4, believing that more success brings a bigger burden. The false belief is I can't expand to my highest potential because I'll be an even bigger burden than I am now, or I will be more burdened. Here they are again. I cannot live the life I have blueprinted because there is something fundamentally wrong with me. I'm not good enough. Or it would cause me to leave behind people from my past. Or I would outshine someone, and or I will be even bigger, I will be an even bigger burden than I am now, or I will feel more burdened. Okay, our upper limits become clearer They move into our conscious awareness. So what do? We move forward anyway. In Corinthians chapter 16, verses 13 through 14, it says, "Be on guard, stand firm, be courageous, and be strong. Do everything in love." Eric Butterworth said in Spiritual Economics, page 119, "We have erroneously thought of success as getting there, while actually success is earning the right to be there." And earning means learning. Setbacks, even failures, they're an important part of that learning. When we learn from them and then keep going, we get across that bridge. When we don't, we run back to the safe, familiar ground of the life that we know. But our dreams don't live on that safe, familiar ground, do they? They live across the bridge. So here's what I learned. We must see and acknowledge our upper limit without judgment. And we must be willing to repattern those paradigms, dismantle those upper limits through intentional, conscious, internal and external work. We will get some tools and do that very thing next week. And we must stick to the blueprint no matter what. And that, my friends, is how we get from here to there. That is how we get across the bridge. And though it may seem impossible at times, even though at times it might be difficult, we can do it. I promise. If I can do it, so can you. And to bring all this home on a pretty adorable note, here's another example that you really can get there from here. Thank you so much for listening in. God bless each and every one of you, and have a beautiful week.